moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't say anything,
but I haven't made off.
We don't mention one question to the little line court. Anything you do is maybe give evidence.
But I haven't made off though.
For your arrest is prompted in fact investigation.
Welcome to Court Update, your go-to channel for exposing misconduct, unpacking police and legal drama, defending your rights, and holding people accountable. This episode is brought to you by I Spy Audits. Make sure to check out the link below. Subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he truly deserves. In today's story, Auditor I Spy stops at a BP petrol station to fill up his tank and attempts to pay with a £20 coin, officially issued by the Royal Mint and legal tender in the UK. What should have been a simple, everyday transaction quickly spirals out of control. Instead of accepting the coin or handling it as a civil matter, the staff call the police. When the officers arrive, rather than de-escalating, they escalate the situation, leading to I Spy's arrest, even though no crime had been committed. But the story doesn't end there. I Spy takes the matter to court, and the reckless decisions of both the staff and police come back to haunt them. The result? A massive payout in his favor, proving once again that accountability matters and that knowing your rights is more important than ever.
£20 coin.
Never seen them in my life.
So it's from the Royal Mint, so the same place that all legal tender comes from.
Have you got any other means of payment at the minute?
I don't know. Right. Can I ask why you didn't tell me before you started recording?
So when we go to any incident, our tour of duty and our police protocol is to video every incident we go to achieve the best evidence.
But you've got to notify the person at the first available opportunity.
No, we don't.
You do.
Have you got that from somewhere? Have you read that up somewhere? Or?
Yes, your policy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the minute, we're obviously videoing everything because we've been called to an incident. Immediate response where there's some ongoing issue with payment, whether it's a domestic...
999?
Well, that's what's coming as, yeah.
Wow.
Well, we just didn't know what was happening. There was an altercation in the shop, so we've arrived on that instance. Are you going to give me your name?
I'm not, no.
Right, okay. Is there a reason for that?
Because it's a civil matter, and it's not something that the police can get involved in.
To a degree, you're right. It is a civil matter. We can deal with it a different way, but obviously, ultimately, you haven't paid for your fuel.
From the moment she arrives on the scene, it's clear this officer is completely out of her depth. The auditor immediately notices her body cam and asks why she hasn't declared it, a legal requirement. Police guidance is crystal clear. Officers must inform members of the public that they are recording at the earliest opportunity. But instead of acknowledging the rule, she flat out denies it exists. Her next move is equally troubling. She demands the auditor's name, even though this is not a criminal matter. It's a civil disagreement between him and the petrol station. There is no legal basis to request ID when no offense has been committed, whether she didn't know the law or chose to ignore it. Either scenario is unacceptable for someone wearing the uniform. From the start, her actions set the stage for unnecessary escalation.
But they're not accepting that money.
But that's up to them to accept it. If they decline...
They've obviously run the post office and they've declined that. Ultimately, it's a civil issue, but if you're not willing to give us your details, then how do we know that you're going to resolve the civil issue at a later date? If you're happy to give us your details, then we can look at the civil issue at a later date.
But that's a civil issue, that's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But we don't know your details, do we? So you could technically escape from here and never come back and never deal with that issue, then you'd be circulated as wanted for that, won't you, for making off without payment?
That's not a police issue at the minute.
It is. It is a police issue because you've not paid for fuel. So there's still an offence there of that you've not paid for your fuel.
But I have paid. I've gave them...
But you've gave them this coin, yeah, which ultimately they've spoke to the post office and they've decided that it's not a reasonable amount of payment for your fuel. So at the minute we're sort of hands are tied, yeah, agree with you on a certain instance of that, but we still need a solution today, whether we take your details and we deal with it at a later date.
In her own words, the officer admits this is a civil dispute. Yet she immediately tries to invent a power to demand the auditor's ID. That's not how policing works. If there's no suspected crime, there is no legal authority to compel personal details. She cannot turn a private payment disagreement into a police-enforced ID check just because the retailer is unhappy. When she threatened that he could be circulated as wanted, it was pure bluff. Wanted markers exist only for criminal matters, for suspects who have failed to appear, not for civil contract disputes. Threatening a criminal label to coerce compliance is not just misuse of authority. It's an admission that she had no lawful basis to act in the first place. If she genuinely believed a crime might be involved, she had to assess the elements, dishonesty, making off, and intent to avoid payment. In this case, the auditor remained on site, attempted to pay, and merely disputed the method of payment. Classic civil territory, not criminal. Her bluff exposed the complete overreach and recklessness of her actions.
So basically, he's trying to pay with this. They've run the post office and said that it doesn't really exist, you can't pay with that. No. He obviously won't give us our details. I've explained to him to a degree it's a civil matter. However, if he does make off and he doesn't give us our details, we're struggling for any sort of civil issue at a later date. Any details and making off without payment, So I've explained if he does give us his details and we know where he is and we can contact him at a later date, hopefully this issue can get resolved. No. He's obviously not really wanting to do that at the minute.
Because it's a civil issue and it's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But you're still going to make off, aren't you? Technically without payment, but if we can get your details...
But I have paid.
But you haven't...
And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Has he paid?
Policy? No, he hasn't.
Right, if you haven't paid, and if you walk out the door now...
They've still got the money though.
Just let me finish. If you walk out that door now, you are liable for an arrest because we don't have your details.
But you don't need them.
Well, I do
because it's a civil issue.
But it's not, because a make off without payment is then a police matter.
The moment the second officer steps in, she escalates the situation instantly, jumping straight to threats of arrest. It's absurd. The auditor was still inside, making no attempt to leave, and openly disputing the payment. There's no making off without payment here. He hadn't left, and there was certainly no intent to avoid paying. Her threats fall apart even further when you consider that the auditor had already tried to pay with a £20 Royal Mint coin, which the cashier refused. That alone destroys any claim that he was trying to dodge payment. Under the Theft Act, both the act of leaving and the intent to avoid payment must be present. Neither existed in this case, yet the officer tried to twist a civil disagreement into a criminal matter simply because she didn't get his details. Her actions exposed a complete lack of legal understanding and judgment.
So if you walk out that door now, If you walk out that door now, you'll be getting arrested for make off without payment.
But there is an agreement with BP that the coin can be used.
Is there any other way that you can pay? Because we're going to sit here for hours arguing. I've been quite respectful to you. I appreciate you have to a degree, and I appreciate that from yourself. You haven't been argumentative with me, and I appreciate that you've been a normal human being. However, we need
I don't intend to. No,
I appreciate
if you
that.
can pay for the fuel now by other means, then that's fair enough. It'll be the end of the matter.
Or if you can give us your details and we can deal with it at a slower time, we can offer you that. But if you're not willing to do either any, then we're struggling with what we have left to do.
Because we can't let you walk out that door without paying. But
we don't know where you live. You might not even be from around here. I'm not saying you are, but you know what I mean. We have people where they'll make off and then they won't give us our details, and then we're going to struggle. I'm still going to have that £20 of fuel, unfortunately, with this BP garage outstanding.
Which car is it?
But I have paid for the fuel.
But you haven't paid for the fuel. Which one?
Right, we're going round in circles, aren't we?
We are, unfortunately, yeah. We've agreed, we've reasoned with you now, and we've tried to say that if you give us your details, just tell you where you live, we'll deal with it slow time. However, you then leave, you don't have your details, you don't know where you live, you could live in London for all we know, and then there's still this making off without payment because they will not accept this as payment.
But I don't have to identify for a civil issue.
It technically isn't a civil issue though, is it, when you leave and you don't pay? You haven't paid for your fuel. We've got the payment here, which isn't acceptable, so really you haven't paid at the minute.
The entire exchange rested on a false premise. The officers kept warning the auditor not to leave, as if he were about to run off without paying. But that moment never came. He was still in the store, actively engaging, and had already tried to pay with a Royal Mint £20 coin. They weren't responding to his actions. They were responding to a scenario they had imagined. That's not law, that's fiction. The idea that they couldn't confirm his identity without forcing ID was just as weak. His number plate was right outside, a lawful and immediate way to verify his details if they genuinely thought it was necessary. Instead, they ignored that option and doubled down on demands they had no legal power to make, twisting a simple civil disagreement into a pretext for arrest. They weren't resolving the situation. They were inflating it, creating conflict where none existed.
Well, I have, because I've handed the coin over. Right. So I haven't got that in my possession, and I've contacted BP head office before coming here.
Right, and was that today then, or?
No.
So when was that then? So you've contacted BP head office before you've come in?
Correct.
Right, so was it to contact them today, or was it yesterday, or last week, or?
It's not up to me to say that.
How's it money?
Do you understand what the £20 coin is?
No, that's why I'm confused.
Well, why are you threatening me for arrest then, if you don't know?
Because it's not money.
It is.
Right. We'll agree to disagree. At the end
you
of the
don't know that. It is. It's
Right.
legal tender, the same as a £20 note and a £10 note.
Right, and who did you speak to from the BP garage, the manager?
It's a Royal Mint who issued that £20 coin.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same money as any other money.
If you get someone on the phone to me who you've spoken to earlier, then we can kind of end the matter here, can't we?
But if it's a civil
you're not
issue, I
going
don't need
but
to
at the minute
assist you.
But at the minute we don't know it's a civil matter.
But I don't need to assist you in a civil issue.
But you do, because it then turns into a police matter because we don't know that coin.
The auditor had already done more than enough by pointing out that BP themselves confirmed the £20 coin was valid. That should have ended the matter immediately. Instead, the officer twists it into a demand, insisting he had to call BP directly, or suddenly it becomes a police matter. That's absurd. He had no legal duty to do her bidding, and refusing doesn't magically turn a civil disagreement into a criminal offense. The role of the police is to assess the facts and apply the law, not shift the burden onto the citizen to prove themselves. Her follow-up line, "We don't know that coin," only makes her position worse. A £20 Royal Mint coin is legal tender. If she and her colleagues don't recognize it, that's their problem, not the auditor's. Yet again, the officer's actions reveal ignorance and overreach, escalating a situation that should have been resolved calmly.
It's a
You're
civil
running the risk
agreement.
of being arrested because you haven't given us details and you're going to walk out that door and it's technically a failure to pay.
But then it'll be a
Make up for
civil.
that payment.
But then I'll sue you.
Well, that's
So,
fine. If you want to sue us, that's fine.
unlawful
But
arrest.
like I said, we've been honest with you in terms of which way we can go. The staff here have been very honest, okay? And all I'm saying
Well, he
is, if you
hasn't.
get the person on the phone who you spoke to earlier with the agreement, then that could be the end of the matter. But
you
as
know-
far as I do, then technically, if you walk out the door, there's going to be a make without payment.
He's already accepted to take it.
You haven't accepted to take it. No, haven't accepted to take it. You walk out that door, becomes a criminal matter, and you get arrested for make off without payment.
Or you give us your
because
details.
You're refusing to give us your
From there.
details, and we don't know that vehicle is yours because you're not.
But I've told you
Is it urgent?
that he said he would take the coin
But he isn't out.
if I take my mask off.
Right, well I wasn't here for that, so we have no witnesses, unfortunately, other than you and him. Right now I can't view that.
Body camera.
But right now I can't view that. At the end of the day, you've come in, you've paid for
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got your fuel, you've come in. This isn't a payable matter. Once you leave, we've offered you to give us your details and deal with it that way. For all I know, that vehicle could be registered to somebody else and lived in London. And how are we ever going to trace you?
But I don't
Once
need
you
to
leave
assist
the
you.
situation, it is making off without payment. I can't be any more reasonable with you and give you some sort of options that we can go
But I
with,
don't
but you're
need
still
to assist
refusing
you.
to. Are you offering to give
Because
the
you're
staff, not myself, not my colleague, the staff your name and contact number?
No.
Right, so we have one option but two will lock you up then.
Well, I've got a civil agreement in the
No,
background.
Fine, you can
So-
prove that
You
at
can
court.
prove-
I've
Yeah,
got
prove that at court
That's
then.
fine. You can prove that at court.
Right, well this moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't
I
have to
haven't-
say anything,
but I haven't made off.
defense. We don't mention one question from the later line court. Anything you do is maybe given evidence.
But I haven't made off
Necessity
though.
for your arrest is prompted in fact of investigation. Okay?
But I haven't made off.
That you're under caution as well.
And due to the fact you failed to provide details.
But I haven't made off.
Failed to provide details, yeah.
But I haven't made off.
Right, are we going to go calmly? We're going to go quietly?
We would go calmly all the time.
Okay, well, do you want to walk with us then?
Of course.
Thank you. Just come with me, sir, please. Have you got anything in your pockets that's going to harm me or you? Just take them out. It's just a question we ask everybody.
Can we just take your camera off as well, please?
This is where the situation crosses the line from incompetence into outright abuse. The officers arrest the auditor for making off without payment, while he's literally standing inside the store saying, "I haven't made off." That single line should have ended the whole ordeal. Under the law, the offense requires two key elements: the act of leaving and the intent to permanently avoid payment. Neither existed here. He hadn't left, wasn't trying to leave, and had already offered a valid form of payment. He was in the middle of a civil dispute, not committing a crime. Yet the officers pressed forward with the arrest anyway, knowing full well the offense simply did not exist. Legally, it doesn't get more indefensible than this. The audacity of claiming a crime where none exists is staggering. But now, Auditor I Spy updates us on the claim he brought forward and the courtroom victory that followed.